Hey, Beacons. Welcome again to the Lorry Brand podcast. It's been a minute. Today, I am very delighted. I'm excited and really, really overjoyed because it's a great milestone for us on the show. We have our very first guest. And she happens to be, well, she now said that me, Lori, is now her acquaintance. Well, we've been friends for maybe almost 9 years now, and it's been quite a journey. I actually I asked for her to be our very first guest because she was okay. She was the first friend I had shortly before I got married. And she's been there, like, when there are people that have been there every step of the way, she literally has been there. She was one of the pillars. I was just, before we started the recording for this show, reminding her of two mantras she gave me that held me through a lot of parenting storms over the years. I hope we're able to maybe say the backstories, but two of them are: when being strong is the only thing you have to be, you've got to be strong. And she goes, it's either you're strong or you're strong. And she said, she said at some point that elephant head, not the heavy arm. Beacons, let her tell us about herself because we call her Minister of Enjoyment, and very soon you'll know why. So, Obi, can you tell us something really, really exciting, amazing about you? Because I believe you put more words to your personality better than I ever could.
Yeah. So thanks, my ex-friend, present acquaintance.
Really, Obi?
Yeah.
Really?
So thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for doing
It's
this with me.
quite an honor for you to consider me to be your first guest on this. And I really admire you and how far you've grown over the years. Honestly, it's been a journey, and I'm proud to see how far you've come and how much you've grown.
I did not say we should cut onions here today.
So it's really good.
Thank you so much for your kind
Thanks
words.
for having me once again.
Okay. She's Obi Cynthia Braimoh. She's an amazing mom to 3 adorable children. She's a civil servant. And I think one thing that intrigues me a lot about her is how she is very put together every single time. Obi does not play with self-care. Like, enjoyment has suffered in Obiageli's hand. Her name, Obiageli, was picked, and she lives by the meaning every single time. There's never a time you see her looking like a problem. Now that we've gotten the introductions out of the way, let's just dive right in. But before we begin, can you just do us a quick favor? Can you just tap on the share button and put the link to this podcast, this show right now, and share with your friends, your enemies, your landlord, your loved ones, and everyone, because we're going to share the juice here. You remember, when we're introducing the podcast, I promised you absolute honesty. I promised you that we're not going to give you anything with fluff in it. We're not going to sugarcoat. We're not going to sit on any moral high horse and tell you, when you ask some parents, how are you doing it? And then they say, nah, God. We're going to tell you our hacks and tricks and behind the scenes as much as vulnerability can permit, because at the end of the day, we don't want to overshare, right? So, Obi, well, she says I should call her Cynthia, but I tell her that but names reveal they're like portals into two universes. When she's Obi, she's my friend. When she becomes Cynthia, oh my God, she's hello, good morning, and I'm like, hey, back off, not with me. So Obi, tell our viewers and our listeners, what has been the toughest parenting challenge you've been faced with as a mom, as a parent?
Okay, so like you just mentioned something. I don't want it to sound like a cliche. When you ask every other parent, what are your greatest challenges as a parent and all that, and they'll say, nah, God, do. Let it not be a cliche, but at the end of the day, there's still a but. You understand? Because it's not just, I won't just say, you can't do this on your own. You understand?
Sure.
Like, for instance, in my own situation, I would say it's the greatest shock, or like, would I say reality, my reality that I'm living right now, being a mother of a special needs child.
Okay.
There's nothing in this world that actually prepares one for that.
Okay.
You understand? So,
Yes,
like, going through the process of being pregnant, expecting, as in all the dreams and hope and all that, then at the end of the day, God blesses you with extra strength to nurture a special child.
Wow.
It is, it is a really big, let's say, task that God gives to one. And I'm privileged to be one of the special moms that God blessed with that privilege to to care for a special needs child. Yes, it is a privilege, it's an honor.
I had the chills hearing you say it's a privilege and an honor to be blessed with a special needs child. That is very, very new, I must say, and very strange, especially in this part of the world where a lot of parents, a lot of people generally are looking for things to complain about, to grumble about. This is the reason why this is not happening. This is the reason why that is not happening for me. Tell me, what gives you this mindset, this audacity, I must say, to reframe your reality that way? Raising a special needs child, I know it's challenging. I'm not raising one myself. With the three I'm raising, sometimes it feels like I'm raising 20 children. So for you, what gives you the courage to see this as a blessing in itself? I don't get it. It's not mathing for me. Like,
yes, and then you won't understand unless you're there. And like they say, every concept in life, it's based on perception. However you want to see it, you could either see it in a negative way or the positive way.
wow.
And I choose to embrace the positivity in it because as time goes by, as I've been living my reality, I see every reason to appreciate the situation I'm in right now, the circumstances surrounding it, and thank God for a wonderful partner that makes it easy.
Wow.
Because a lot of people that faces these challenges, it is either they are doing it on their own or they're dealing with a partner that doesn't understand and doesn't want to understand. You understand? So in my own case, I have an understanding husband so we work as a team to cater to this child. And we don't make the child feel less of a person. Rather, he's so confident in himself. He doesn't see anything wrong with him. Even when he tries to rather he would want to take advantage of us, like to get away with some things.
Wow.
We don't even give him that chance because we make him feel like you're not more special than your siblings. So that's how it is. So like you say, family that work. Okay, let me use it. The family that work together. So we're growing together.
Wow.
So that's why I don't see it as a challenge. I see it as an honor because God gives his toughest battle to his strongest soldiers. So I think I'm one of them.
I am not strong. Yeah, see, just take it from me now, God. I know you're here. And you can hear me. I'm not strong. That's how God wants to use Job to brag. And of course, it is easy to say, like, after all his everything and at the end of his battles, all the glory. But were you there? All the balls and all the plates. Imagine all your children dying in one day. I'm not strong, oh God. Disclaimer. See, she said my ex-friend, we're not friends. Before God will not be in the neighborhood and say, come and take strong battle. I ain't strong. I don't want to be strong.
The thing is, you don't know, like my mantra, you don't know how strong you are until you're faced with something. And the only choice you have is just to be strong.
Obi, I don't know how you do it.
Nothing prepared me for this. Nothing, absolutely nothing prepared me for this. I was living my best life, getting married as every other young lady, and I would have this, would have that, would be like this, but God gave this to me. So here I am, and I'm living the best life. I'm making the best use of this opportunity. And the another reason why I besides you being my ex-bestie, and another reason why I am here is that a lot has been going on. Like, I'm an advocate for inclusive education because I went through, that was one of my downtime, like trying to get a school that would take inclusive education, like to regular kids, like they say, and special needs kids. A lot of schools in Nigeria, they don't do that. Although now there's been a lot of advocacy for kids with special need. So some school, they are going through it. God bless CCS. So if I may say, Christian Community School, they really, really did a whole lot for me, because I was at a point where I was looking for inclusive education, because there's something about inclusive education. That's where my son gained his strength from. Because being in a class with regular kids, not being looked down on, being seen as equal, it's made him like confident on his own. It built him, and it helps his development, his speech, his reasoning. He started what he achieved at that time, at the period at which he joined a regular school. Honestly, there is no neurological expert that will automatically catapult him to that state, the stage where he is right now. Yes. So that's why one of my passion is this inclusive of the special need education and mainstream.
Before we tear that apart, how does it feel like, really? How do you feel? Sometimes after a long day at work, with the many hats you juggle, with being a person by yourself, when it gets overwhelming, what do you draw strength from? Because I believe that there are challenging days, right? There are low days. What gives you the courage to keep going? How will you be giving me courage on dark days when you are the one in quotes who should have support rallied around you? What do you draw strength from? Where do you draw strength from on such low days, on such dark days?
Okay. Like I mentioned before, like having a supportive spouse.
Okay.
It's that's one of my go-to places. Then God above all. And seeing the things that my son has achieved over the years. Let me be honest with you. It's not all roses. It's not all snowflakes and all that. There are days where I feel so down. I ask myself questions and all that. I ask as an uncertainty for the future, because whatever plans one would make, there are a lot of things, like you would not put some things that I would put into consideration while making plans. But because of these circumstances, I put those things into consideration. Like, okay, I have a special need. How am I going to do this? So sometimes it can be very challenging. There are days where I just don't want to talk. I just want to cry. I just want to scream and all that. But still, I get encouraged with how far he has gone. And I get encouraged by the result I see with the effort I put in. So I know it can only get better. Because over the years, there's not been like a depreciation of the achievements we have attained. Rather, I'm seeing things go. It might not be as fast as one would want, but still, at the same time, for parents with special need kids that probably would not even be seeing the progress they're making, or maybe their expectations, they are too high. There's something I always say: appreciate every step. You having a child at all, be special need or any other child, appreciate that fact that a being came out through you. You were the vessel that was used to produce this. I think it is a great, it's these children, they are work of art. You need to be with them. They are like a spirit being on their own. Because there are days, do you know there are times where I don't even need to say it. I will just be overwhelmed My son tells me, he just says, "Mommy, I love you." Just that
that's so
word, "Mommy, I love
touching.
you," alone.
Wow.
I look at him, I'll be like, does this child know what I was thinking inside? Does he know how I'm feeling? He just said it's like reassuring me, like, "Mommy would pull through." Like, so honestly, that's why I see it as a privilege to be his mom. He did me a great favor to come through me. I see it as a privilege.
Wow,
Yes.
that's remarkable. I hope other parents are actually learning from this. Like I said, it's all honesty here. I've had to because sometimes, like, disclaimer, sometimes a social butterfly. I kind of put together maybe play dates for kids, my kids, her kids, other kids. And the first thing she asks me is it on the ground floor? If not, is it ramp or raft? Or a lift to take him up? She always would ask that question and hope other kids are comfortable with having him around. If the answers to those questions are no, she's quick to turn it down. She puts her kids first. She doesn't go on a lot of trips, not because it wouldn't have advanced her career. She's very intentional and deliberate. And I think I should take this time to say thank you so much for all you do. Okay, take your flowers. Really, take your flowers.
Thank you.
Take your flowers because I know firsthand that parenting is not for the faint-hearted. And then having to now surround yourself with, especially, we'll come to that, with staff sometimes that act a certain way. And okay, it reminds me typically of when she had her second daughter. I went to see her. And it was the very next day, or was it the next day? And this woman was pacing around the hospital. I'm like, you just had a baby. And it was their cesarean section. Why are you pacing around the corridor? And she said, that was when she said, when being strong is the only thing you've got to be strong. And I'm like, I don't understand this Zen motivational speech. Why are you out of bed? And she said her maid just left. She's in between getting another hand. I'm like, I don't get it. What's going on? And in that moment, trust me, if it was me, I'll cry. Like, I'll cry my eyes out. But she was going around and organizing for tests for the baby and all. How do you cope with, of course, domestic staff and staffing is a whole issue in this country. How do you cope with your staff and having to cater to his needs, and of course other children too? I know you have a beautiful system. In fact, to clean the house in the night to make sure the home is ready for the next one. In this one, our organization and everything is something we'll talk about some other time. But how do you cope with staff? How do you cope with that support system like we spoke about? But this time around, amongst the staff, members of your domestic staff that actually help in the upkeep.
Okay, so with domestic stuff, you know how it is. You just can't
Maybe we should just share the grace at this point.
You just can't get it right. You know how it is that sometimes it got to a point that you'll be asking yourself,
is it me?
Is it me? Am I the problem? Is there something wrong with me? Or until when you meet with other moms, not even your friends, you might be in the salon and you meet with other moms, as in like gist, and everybody will start talking about what happened to them. My maid, this, my maid. It'll be like, it's as if we're comparing notes. Like, come, what did you just say? Oh, really? Tick. I've experienced this too. I say, so that's when I realized that, okay, it's really not me. These people is like they have a coven. They agree on something. Like, this is how we would do when we get there. That is how I feel about them. But thankfully, for the past years now, I've had like staff that have been with me for like 4 years straight up.
So what now?
Yes.
Wow.
I've had staff that have been with me for 4 years.
We'll share notes after this true.
I'm thankful. Yes. So I'm grateful for that because it was not easy before then. So, and another thing I realized with these people, anyway, it depends on one's capability, what you can afford. Because if you have because of my situation, I have like more than one domestic staff in the house. So since they're more than one, when you like, there's division of labor.
Okay.
So it makes them feel at ease. They don't feel overwhelmed by the chores and the responsibilities that you give to them. So it makes them do better.
Okay.
You understand? And another thing is empowerment, empowering them.
Okay.
Like the one of the staff I have, the one that has been with me for 4 years, she goes to fashion school.
Wow.
Yes, and she has like a home lesson teacher that comes to teach her in the house. So with that, when they see that you're not all of them would really appreciate that, and
Okay.
so
Mm-hmm.
but I think that too it's part of the motivating force that kept her, because she knows, and I tell her all the time that I don't want you to leave my house the same way you came.
Aww.
When you're leaving,
That's
I
so
want
cute.
you to leave, as in, I want you to remember me with what I've impacted in you. You have learned so much here. And so when you're going, I want you to have so many knowledge and you do better than how you came here. So that's part of it. Still, I was to say, one can't just get it all right. It's
I know, right?
the grace,
I
yeah.
know, because man, it's one part of parenting I've not still been able to figure out up until now. You feel like when you give them everything, when you make them comfortable. I've had a number of times that some of them prefer to be in homes where they are treated badly. And I think I can make sense. I'm beginning to make sense out of it because the body remembers. Maybe some of them have faced a lot of trauma, and that's what they are used to. That's how they are used to being treated. So, well, about the coven, well, I don't know. I don't know if there's a general assembly, but what I tell myself is the footsteps of the righteous are ordered by God.
Yes.
Even if they had ill intentions, it disappoints the devices of the crafty,
Yes.
and their hands cannot perform their enterprise. And what works for me is I don't listen to foul news. I don't watch them. I don't entertain gossips or comments or discussions, conversations around this maid did that, poison this, did that, and that, because I believe that the ears and the eyes are the gateways to the mind.
Sure.
And if you keep listening to these things, chances are that someday, who knows, you will attract them to, and to be like, he will not start crying wolf. Now, that brings me to the question of, Abby, have you ever at any point considered teaching other parents to when you get to, okay, let me end that, to be as put together as you are, to be as organized, to be as intentional and deliberate with raising children, especially children with special needs? Because sometimes when you are in your zone of genius, I must say, you don't know that you're doing something remarkably well, exceptionally well. You just feel like, is it not just, you see somebody that's raising regular kids, from their head down to their toes, you see them looking like ras people. They are unkempt. They are messy. Have you ever thought of it like maybe a community for parents with special needs children, teach inclusivity and diversity? I think you kill it. What do you think?
Okay, actually, it is the teaching part of it. I don't know. That is not my field.
Oh,
But
wow.
when it comes to support groups, I wouldn't mind having like a support group for parents with special needs children, so we can encourage ourselves. Like you said, me being put together and all that, it is who I am. And like I mentioned, I don't see caring for a special need child like, I don't know how it happens. It's not me trying to like sound like all superpower, but I don't see like I'm doing something out of the ordinary. Yes, I see like I'm just living, taking care of my children, nurturing them. How every other parent would nurture their child and pray to see them grow and properly and all that. So that is how I see it. I don't see it like a big deal. Not like I don't know that it's a big deal, and it can be because people handle challenges in different ways. My threshold for some things is different from that of other parents. It could be overwhelming and more challenging for other parents, either because of their financial capabilities, on responsive spouse, or maybe a single parent. Do you understand? So those are some of the issues that some people face when it comes to taking care of special needs children. So I would like a community for parents with special need children, so we could encourage one another. And like I know in the Western world they have this kind of thing, as in I think in maybe every locality they have, like in every community they have like those kind of support group. You know, in Nigeria we're all trying to survive, so people really don't think of that. And there are some people that even with special need, they don't like bringing them out, or they don't even like talking about it. You understand? So because there are some kids maybe I would see and I would want to familiarize with the parents, I'll notice that they don't want to talk about it. Some are not receptive, you understand? So I just look at it. I wish those of us in this part of the world, we could be more open to things like this. It is not a death sentence. It is not a curse. It is a norm. And it's high time we start seeing it like, okay, it has happened. What next? It has happened. You find yourself in this situation. What next? Just do everything possible to give your child the best life. People would always wag their tongue. People would always, and all that. I don't see all that. Before, I used to have this self-pity. Maybe some parents would see me, they'll be like, oh, how do you do this? Like what you're saying. If it was me of before, I would be shedding tears already. I'll be like, that self-loath and self-pity, like, but now, when you tell me, how do you do? I'll say, thank you. Like, how do you do this? I'll be like, I'm raising my child. I don't see it like I'm doing anything special. Just
I
just
think
how you're raising your child.
seriously, and I think that's why you are the best person to teach this superpower to other people. Be this change we need in this part of the world, right? Let us be the change. I think for me, I started teaching about excellence in parenting when I made up my mind that instead of complaining about Nigeria and how bad the country is, I'll lend a voice to helping raising the next generation to do better by first improving on this generation, help them see areas where they are not, they are blind spots, where they are not doing excellently well. I think you'd really be a good voice. You'd really be a good hand. You'd be like the Bible says that the harvest is plenty, but the laborers are few. If it's in the area of self-care, reprogramming their minds to even see that this is a blessing, it's a growth process. It's a learning curve for you too, because you're now learning how to be a better person first so that you'll be able to accommodate the needs of the child and all of that. The support group, I know Beacons here will be very, very happy. A lot of parents that watch this show, that listen, will be very, very happy to know that it is a community by one of us, for all of us. So if you ever decide to give that part of you expression, please be sure that I'll be the first to scream it out loud.
Definitely.
And parents on here will be expecting a very decent discount, right?
Definitely.
So before we go on, do you like what you've been hearing so far? Do you have a parent that could benefit from this conversation? Can you please share? It's free. It's free. Let us not be judgy. Let us not condemn each other. Let us not tear each other down. If you see what will help, just click the button and share already. Like, it's the least you could do to support the channel and help us grow, right? Thank you so much for being amazing. Thanks for sharing. You'll get one lollipop at the end of the show, okay? Okay, so our next question. Obiageli, how do you do it? How do you juggle raising three children? Like, I keep emphasizing because it's 1, 2, and 3. Sometimes it feels like 20, especially when they're on holidays, that long summer vacation. How do you do it? Still have time to sit down in the morning and wear your makeup, put on good clothes and hair, like juggle business with raising children, with being married, with having a 9 to 5 and still being sane while at it. Please don't tell me, nah, God. Actually, show us answer sheets. You're here to cut premium soap for beacons. Please go ahead and tell us, how do you do it? Do you have a regimen? Do you have a routine?
Okay.
But how? Like me personally, I want to know this one. How do you?
No, you hear Madam Routine now. Okay. For that, thank God for the generation we are living in right now. Unlike the days of our parents where helping hands doesn't come like easy like that. So for now, I can't just take all the glory because I know I have help.
Okay.
I have help in I call them, I don't just call them help anymore. I call them how the destiny helper.
Aww.
God placed specific people
Wow.
in my life to help me. You understand? So I call them my destiny helpers because they really do a whole lot. So that's just it. And my odogu.
Wow.
My odogu.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It's
So
okay.
I really have everything in place because in my home front, like I have everybody knows what to do at every point in time because they've been trained for that. So far. But I make myself available all the time because I'm one of those parents that because I have 2 maids or because I have 3 maids, I'll just leave my kids with them. No, I don't do that. I and my husband, we work our schedule in a way where one person has to be with the kids at every point in time with the
Wow.
maid. Yes. We
Talk
don't
about
yes.
being present.
We just don't leave our
Whoa.
kids. We just don't leave our kids. One person has to be with the kids. If in a worst case scenario where both of us has to be away, a family member would be there with the maid.
Okay, tell me, what fuels this? For some people, it's fear. Like maybe the maids will harm your nannies will harm your kids, run away with your kid. What fuels this decision really?
Okay. I think it comes from a place of from everything one has experienced in life, and
Okay.
you just can't trust everybody.
Mm.
These people, as much as you pay them than your payroll, they're out there to still get what they want.
Mm-hmm.
And still, that's just it for us that you just can't leave your children. Do you know there are things, as in, okay, like my kids, their age range, they've not gotten to the stage where I'll be comfortable in just leaving them. June 10, the other one's 6 and one turning 6, one turning 4. So they are in their vulnerable stage right now. So we need to be more present in their life with because of basically you don't know what these people can do when you are not there. There are some times that there was a day I asked a girl, one of my mates, to get water for my kids. She said, there's a water that one of them was drinking that is on top of the table. She should go and take it. Something prompted me to when I looked at it, you know those dust particles. So obviously the cup has been there with that water. If I wasn't there to see it, the child would drink it that way. So those are the kind of things. You might look at it like it's petty, it's minute, but it's from these little things. That is when you can curb any big one that was meant to happen. So it is something that, and thank God, still, I'll go back again to my husband. The kind of person he is a very detailed person. So he would make sure everything is in place and everything is in order. So initially, I was a kind of very carefree person, like, what's the worst that could happen?
Yeah, right.
But over the years, I learned to be more cautious of everything around me, my surrounding, the people around me, like the people that I leave my kids with. You understand, like just leaving them. So I became more cautious, and it has helped me a lot. As in, I know you don't like hearing story, one may did that, one may did this. But for me, in as much as I hear it, I don't channel it into my own life, or maybe trying to see it play in my life. But you learn from people's mistake. Don't let it happen to you, to learn from it. So we just being cautious so that we can
Okay, that's another angle to look at that from, you know. For me, I think I just don't want to foil my fear because I have trust issues. So the moment I start fixating on these things, start consuming them, I'll start looking at you like, are you sure? Are you sure? And the moment I can't trust you, I can't even have you in my space at all. So by default, I think it's very, very dangerous to even have a total stranger in your home,
yes.
especially in this country where background checks, how effective are
Zero.
those?
Zero.
Exactly.
Zero.
So if I cannot run background checks, if I cannot even know you, and I'm already hearing things outside, I'll start looking at you one eye. Before you know it, the shadow will now start shaping into something I don't know. And so, yeah, we are not unaware of the machinations of them. We know people are capable of a lot of things, but we just have faith, fingers crossed, believe that God somehow just loves us so much, and He would keep everyone that is meant to harm us away. And even if they have plans, they somehow will not come to pass because, of course,
Amen.
God is there, right?
Yeah.
So, to the next question. Okay, I think we somehow have covered a bit of that, but can you narrow it down for us, like go a bit deeper? Um, have there been any unique challenges with nannies and domestic staff, especially with your son? Has there been any challenge or experience worthy of note? How do you get them to assist wholeheartedly? All right. So that, especially when probably you're not there in the moment, well, you've said it, you're very, very present, or one of you has to be around. But for times where maybe you're in the kitchen, you're busy, okay, your son needs to maybe use the bathroom or just needs help. How are you able to bring them into the mind space to see him as a blessing, just like you do,
Yeah.
and to be able to work as a united front to make sure that he gets the care and well, the love and affection and attention he deserves.
Okay, like I've said, I call them my destiny helpers, these people. So somehow these people I have around me, I see the compassion in them towards my son. Yes.
Wow.
They, okay, when they come in, I don't know how to explain it. They don't even treat him like a special need. Do you understand?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, he's a very lovable child. Very, very lovable. As in, there's nobody
True.
that meets him that would like. I've made a lot of friends because of him. So, yes,
Wow.
a lot of people would even see him in school, or maybe we go to church. Oh, in church, that's the story for another day. Everybody
Wow.
is his friend. Then maybe when we go out, he is very friendly. Hello, hello, hello. He's always talking to people. You understand? So, with the helps I have at home, I've not had any form of experience with them. Yes.
Wow.
I've not had any form of experience with them, like a negative experience with them as regards my kids or my son. I don't know if maybe because we are always present, but still, I see how they treat him. When he wants to use the restroom, he tells them, I want to use the restroom. They take him to the restroom. When he's done, they bring him out. As in, they cater to him like their own sibling.
Wow.
Yes, that is one. That is another.
Is there anything you did to bring them into this space, or
No,
it just comes
no,
naturally from
no.
them?
As in. Do you know? Before, as in, it comes naturally. Before now, let me just get a maid. But now, as I'm praying to get a maid, I'm praying for the kind of maid that God releases to my house. Yes, I'm praying about that because it's not everybody that would come. A maid had come, as in I've had a maid before that from the agent that brought the maid was like, the agent said, the maid said, you have a child that is a special needs child in the house, that she doesn't think she can do the job and all that. It was very disheartening. It was very, very disheartening for me, but It's one of those things. So besides that, I've not had any form of experience with challenge with
Wow,
the
that's profound. Like in how many years? Almost a decade. You see, that these stories fly about does not mean that it will happen in your home, especially for all, you Beacon that is watching right now, and you're trying to be a Hebrew woman and you don't want help because they posted on.
You need it. You need it. You cannot do it on your own.
You need the support.
You cannot do it on your own. That's the advantage we have over the people in the Western world, because we cannot easily access these people.
A lot of us got into parenting because when you finish school, you go for NYC. After NYC, you might go and marry. You marry, you go and born begin. After a few months, after a few months, your parents and all the Association of Womb Watchers are already asking, is it not? Are you not? So
when?
It's so annoying. Some cannot even hide their apropos. They'll come and ask you, what's the one thing you wish you knew? What came as a shock? It shocked you, like
culture shock, marriage shock.
As in, what's the one thing that really shocked you? Like it hit you.
Parental shock.
Like
okay.
Remember, not love.
No
all
kids,
honest.
No kids. No two kids are exactly the same.
Okay.
That's one thing.
Okay.
And this our heart is big. This heart is big.
Wow.
Do you know when I had just my son? He's about 4 years older than his sibling. He's my next child, my second child. Okay. You know, when I had just him, I'll tell myself, I'll be like, can I ever love any other child?
Oh, wow.
I'm telling you, I'm like, I just want him to have all my love. I don't think I can ever love any other child. Not until I had a miscarriage before him.
Oh no.
That was when.
Hold up.
Before her. Before
how are you still here?
Sorry, before my second child.
How are you here?
Miscarriage after
how
him
did you survive that?
Good support system. Thank God. Yeah.
You're actually one of God's toughest generals.
It was
Odogu. Yeah. I gave it to you, like, and you're just saying, like, support system. One of God's. You know, people lose their sanity just from that alone. How did you deal with the loss? Do you still feel bad about it? Does it feel hurt?
The night I was wearing, the night it happened, I still kept that 90. I've not worn it after that day, but I can't dispose it. I can't discard it. I still kept it. It's still there. So it's like a memorabilia for me concerning, as in pertaining that child. So that was when I knew my heart was big enough to like accommodate and to love my kids equally. So that was a major shock for me, actually.
I think we should actually have a show where we'll talk about dealing with the loss
of a child.
Because I feel like it's
that's a soft spot. That is a
you got me in my shell when you mentioned the dress and it being a memorabilia, and it took me back to the color olive green and what it means to me. Like, the dress I wore back from the hospital, for me, it was after I got back from the hospital, I was happy that, okay, my baby was doing okay. I was going to see her. I was already planning in my head. I can't wait. My doctor said she was upstairs. I wasn't strong enough to climb the stairs yet. And I said, they don't know how strong I am. I cannot wait to show them all. And then it was about past 6 p.m. in the evening. That call came. The call that shaped my life and changed the course of my life forever. I was telling my husband a few days ago that I'm grateful for the gifts of that girl because she made me rethink life. She made me think about life from a different dimension. I always thought giving your children the best was about giving them the what you could not have financially until she passed. And I'm like, no, there has to be more. And that's what took me on the journey. That was the crucible for me. And I think that's what birthed my passion to teach parenting. So for me, yeah, the dress is still there. I wore on the night I didn't even meet her. They gave me her corpse and I was just hoping. I'm like, hey daughter, I'm here. Mom is here now. Just wake up. I know it's a prank. I know it's a game. And she was just looking at me. I held her for a long time and then they said it was time to lay her to rest. I couldn't stop crying. And I still cried a few days ago when I went past where she was laid to rest. I thought I had gotten over it, but it feels like, is it something we never get over?
Never.
Why does it still hurt? I thought they said time heals. But I still feel
I don't know why I'm still holding on to that night dress.
I still have the dress too.
I don't know why I'm still holding on to it. There are days where maybe I'm looking for something in the drawer also. I just stumble upon it. That brief moment.
Yeah, you're dead in your track. I can relate.
Then
and then you try to snap out of it. Yes. Sometimes it lingers.
But that dress, I can't get rid of it. That night dress, I just can't get rid of it.
It is well.
It is.
It is well. We really need to talk about dealing with the loss of a child because I feel like it's a lot.
It is.
I'm sorry you had to lose the child. I'm glad that we're healing, we're getting past it. I pray God gives you the grace to look back to it with a lot less pain. I wanted to say I'm sorry I brought up a question that led there, but I like how the conversation went and that even though we had questions to serve as guide, we just kind of went with the flow. So we're talking about, oh God, I didn't want this to get emotional at all. But you sure did it. Okay. What you wish you knew before you became a parent? Yeah, I think I wish they told me that at some point you lose a child and then you have to be strong. Because yeah, he shocked me. He shocked me, I must say. He shocked me. So was that a shock for you or was there more?
Okay, for me, I think what I wish I knew is that the idea of being selfless.
Okay, throw more light on that. Thank you so much for being honest, but let's unpack that.
The idea of being selfless. When your kids are sick, that you don't sleep.
You don't say.
They will puke all over you, go through all that.
And they call it the joy of motherhood. Like, I'm screaming right now. The joy of motherhood. Really?
It's actually joy of motherhood.
How is that joyful?
I never knew.
How is that joyful?
Okay, from my own family, we're just two kids. So I happen to be the last of the two. So I grew up with that kind of pampering and pet her. So me now having a family of my own with all this strength and all these being like acting like I can do all things. Anyway, I can do all things through Christ strengthens me. With all those strengths and all that, I never knew I could do all that. I never knew I could be that selfless. Oh, wow. I never knew I could put people first before me.
Wow.
That is my reality now. So
okay. Well, for me, it still hurts me every day, Sha. And I used to beef their aunt. Like, I used to tell her that one day, come and dump all of them in your house. Because why will you be sleeping through the night? Which kind of wickedness is that one? Like, how dare you sleep? Because I can't remember the last time I had 8 hours of sleep.
Yes.
Have you slept for 8 hours?
No. From where?
Why didn't they tell us?
From where?
Why didn't they tell us?
Sleep where?
Like, I'll just be sleeping peacefully out here and knock on my door. Like, right now, I even expect it. It's like subconsciously, I'm expecting that knock on my door.
My husband would ask me, did you sleep well? I'll say yes. In my mind, I'm like,
we tell him now. How will I be
well as a parent?
They didn't tell me
when
that
this
one,
one
sha.
cough, you hear. When this one happens,
You get,
hear,
it's
you
like,
have to, even the child is not in your room, but your antennas somehow they are alert to pick signal
oh
from
my
the
God.
slightest thing you hear from them. So there's no way as a parent you just like just close your eye and sleep. Or no,
I think the only thing that maybe I would give credit for maybe preparing me for that is that Kuchi Kuchi song. In the middle of the night I wake up and I hear you cry. It seems something binds us together. Supernatural. I beg, can we cut that thing? Because why will you be coughing and I will wake up from my sleep? And the part that hurts me the most, like full disclosure, is to go back to bed peacefully,
now,
soundly.
peacefully.
And my
As
day
if nothing
starts.
happened.
And
And you can't sleep
you
again.
sleep now. When it's 3 a.m. and your day has to start by
You
4,
can't sleep again.
you will wake up and then,
awake.
like robot, you soldier on. Like, seriously, I wish there was like a whole preparatory course for all of that. Expect this, expect that.
Parental journey.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
Now, closing this, would like to ask you a question. What's your definition of excellence?
Okay. My definition of excellence is that greatness in all of us. And we all have it.
Oh, wow.
From the top to the bottom.
Oh, wow.
Everyone has it. That greatness in all of us. Sometimes it takes circumstances or situation to bring it out, or for people to see it. It takes something for people to see it, but it's something we all have in us because there's greatness in all of us.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that's
such a beautiful definition. Thank you so much for such a great time. Thank you so much for being our first guest.
Thank you for having me.
We appreciate you. We celebrate you. We applaud you. Like, thank you so much.
I appreciate you too.
For those who want to reach out to you to maybe ask specific questions, can we maybe leave your contact with them? Of course, censored, because I'm all about people having their privacy and all. For those who want to reach out for support, maybe this could be a start of something beautiful. For those who want to reach out for guidance, for support, to actually maybe learn a thing or two from you in building systems, in creating organizational frameworks to help them be better parents first, and then parents to kids with special needs. I hope we have your blessing to maybe hook you up with them. Is that okay?
That's fine.
All right. Thank you so much for being such a blessing. We hope we would have you again and again on the show. It was a wonderful one. Thank you so much for coming around.
You're welcome.
I'd have hugged you now, but you said I'm your ex-friend, so
please.